Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here with another Wednesday Banter episode, post-Christmas edition. Yeah. And as always, our Wednesday Banter episodes are sponsored by our sponsors, Gray Fox Games.
Woo.
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 This is also episode 123. So like the 1, 2, 3, something, something, ABCs.
Is that a thing? Are we making a thing out of the weird numbers of our episodes now?
I don't know. I just noticed as I was typing it in, like, because when I open a new file, it prompts me to save it. It was like, oh, yeah, it's 1, 2, 3. It's just real easy to type on my number pad there.
Gotcha.
You've made me not want to talk at all.
I finally achieved it.
Zach will be quiet for the rest of the episode.
Took a while, but I have finally broken Zach.
Yeah.
Now I just have to break Jeff.
How was everyone's Christmas, huh? Everyone get all the presents they wanted?
Fuck you, Jeff.
We're recording this way ahead of time.
I mean, not way ahead of time.
No, but
like 4 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
We're recording
6
this.
days before it should come out. So
Yes.
Nearly a week in advance.
Yep.
Because we're all going to be,
5 days before we normally record.
yeah. Jeff is going to be gone.
Yes.
He's going to Chicago.
For a week.
Chi-Town.
Yep.
Chi-City.
He's
Yes.
one of those losers that goes to visit his family during the
Like,
holidays.
On the holidays.
Yeah.
Not before or after.
Yeah.
I used to be the loser that would do it after the holidays because work wouldn't let me go during the holidays. And so now I'm replacing that the last couple of years that I have a different job that I am actually going on the holidays. So it is refreshing.
See, I can only stand one holiday with my family.
Yeah.
And I just choose to make that Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Actually, that's not true. I love my family.
My
We just really only get together for Thanksgiving.
My sister pulls that. She can only go like either or.
Yeah. We would probably be going to Michigan to spend time with Megan's family for Christmas if it weren't for the fact that Megan works Christmas Day and New Year's Eve, as
Oh,
well
New
as
Year's
other
Eve?
days like
Oh, that
mixed
sucks.
in.
Ugh.
Yep.
That is not a good day to work.
Boof.
No, especially not in a hospital.
No.
So,
Katie will be working over Christmas, but her whole family is coming here.
oh.
Yeah.
I got to see Katie today.
Yeah, you went snowboarding
Went
today.
snowboarding today. Yep.
Yeah, drove up last night, snowboarded in the morning,
Yeah.
and came back in the afternoon.
We missed I-70 closing by 10 minutes.
Why was it closing?
It was snowing and windy,
Oh,
and we came
yeah,
out
I
of
guess
the
they got a couple inches or something,
Yeah.
right?
we came out of the tunnel, and there were no shit 7 different semis that were various states of slid off the road / jackknifed, like right immediately out of the tunnel.
Wow.
One of them was perpendicular.
Coming back to Denver.
No, coming down into Silverthorne.
Oh, when you went up there.
When we were going up
last night. Okay.
Yeah. No, we were fine coming back today.
Yeah,
It was dry
I thought-
roads.
yeah, today would've been
sunny
fine.
day, no problem. No, going up last night. And apparently earlier in the day, the eastbound lanes had been closed for several hours due to people, not knowing how to drive. It was amazing. Like all
Not
those
having
semis.
a vehicle that it would be able to drive.
Yeah.
It's usually
Well,
what it is.
that doesn't stop some people from crashing still.
That's true.
Yeah. The number of times I've seen a big old SUV just balls deep in the snow off in the ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the trucks was so bad, it was like perpendicular to the road to the point where there was just enough room for cars to get around it on the opposite shoulder to keep traffic moving.
Wow.
I think that was the one that finally prompted them to be like, close the road.
Yeah.
So, because, yeah, we got to the condo and Jim, I think his name was
Mhm.
there. And we were chatting with him. And then Megan was looking something up. And she's like, oh, shit, 70 closed. Like 10 minutes after we went through. It's like, oh, I'm glad we made that.
Yeah.
Because we left game night. I left a little bit early to go pick up Megan. And then we met back up with Aunt. And,
Like
and drove
9:30
up
or
there.
something
Yeah.
like that.
So we got lucky. I would
Yeah.
have been real pissed if we'd gotten stuck on the highway waiting for them to reopen it.
Who knows how long that takes?
Potentially a long time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, went snowboarding today. Snow wasn't too great at Keystone. It had been so windy overnight that any of the snow that did fall had really just kind of blown away. Apparently, it all blew across the valley into Breckenridge because like Keystone snow totals were like an inch. Breckenridge was like a foot.
All right.
But I don't have a Breckenridge pass,
Mm.
so that was not on the table.
You
No
could have
worries.
just spent a bunch of money.
I could have.
A lot of
Yeah.
money for a day.
Yeah. And it was still probably really windy at Breckenridge because Breckenridge is always fucking windy.
I've
Oh.
never been,
I don't really like Breckenridge.
except to drink at the Big Beer and Barley Wine Festival.
So, but yeah, had a good time. Went back, hiked one of the bowls, did South Bowl.
Okay.
Had a pretty good time back there. I was practicing riding switch, which for those of you who aren't down with snowboarding lingo, switch is when you ride basically with the opposite end going down the mountain that you normally do. So normally I ride with my left side facing down and my
Regular.
right foot's behind me, which is, yeah, that's regular. Some people ride their normal stance is with their right foot forward. That's called goofy.
Katie has done snowboarding and is goofy.
Yeah, and there's no rhyme or reason. Like sometimes some people who are right-handed still ride goofy.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like it's not necessarily tied to whether you're right or left-handed. It's just some weird
Depends
thing
on,
about
like,
how you
your-
learn to balance.
Yeah, your dominant foot, which
Yeah.
no one ever thinks about.
Yeah.
I mean, I know which one mine is, but that's because everything on my body is it's just left oriented.
Yeah.
Left eye, left foot, left hand. It's my right side's stupid.
My left side's stupid, so I know how it feels.
Yeah, it's why when I play Guitar Hero or Rock Band, I'd have to play it normal because my with the left hand actually hitting the frets with the right hand strumming, because my right hand could not deal with trying to figure out 5 buttons.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I guess I play left-handed. I play regular, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anyway, switch. Going back to snowboarding real quick, so we can move on past this.
Sorry, I was trying to get something interesting going, but apparently
I thought it was interesting.
No.
Hey, yeah, exactly.
But
a
now
lot
we're-
of people.
But now
and
we're
it's
going
go-
back to
It's going to be
snowboarding.
more interesting because I hurt myself.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about
Oh.
Adrian hurting himself.
See, you gotta prime us, otherwise we just immediately zone out.
Oh, Adrian got hurt? Yeah,
Yeah.
continue, please.
Now
So
you
I-
can talk.
So I was practicing switch, which is basically the equivalent of riding backwards.
Yes,
And
riding left-handed.
Yeah, and it's a huge process. Like you wouldn't think. Like I'm really comfortable riding regular, but going to switch, it's like all of a sudden I have to think about every little movement I'm doing.
Just like learning.
Yeah, it's like learning all over again. And I'd been doing really well with it, and did really well with it today until at one point I was on a fairly flat stretch. And I was like, oh, this would be a good time to practice my switch. And I went into switch, and I was like, do a little awkward turn, and then, caught an edge, and flopped down really hard on some really hard-packed snow and ice.
I
Especially on
hope
a
you were
flat area.
saying that when you were when you're doing
No.
doing an awkward turn.
No. That was because this is an audio medium, not a visual medium. Otherwise, you would have seen me doing awkward turns.
This is true.
But yeah. And then there was another point where I was riding in the trees, and what I thought was a nice little, just packed snow, little, lip was actually a little bit of powder on top of a log that then caught the front of my board and sent me cartwheeling.
Tomahawked on down.
Yeah. Right down into a tree well,
Ooh.
which was also not fun.
No.
And then on the way back, heading back to the front, towards one of the last runs of the day, Ant wanted to go down. I can't remember what run it is, but it's really steep one that he likes to just bomb down. And it was super because it'd been so windy. It was all the loose stuff had been blown away, and I was hauling ass trying to keep up with him, and went to carve on my heel edge, and my heel edge just kind of went shoop out from under me.
Ooh.
But it didn't do it it wasn't hard, so I didn't fall on my ass really hard.
Yeah.
But then I ended up just going board first, ass down,
Uh-huh.
sliding 200 feet down the hill,
Yeah.
and it just sprayed a bunch of snow up over my board into my face.
I did that when I went this last Saturday.
Yeah. So we were walking back, and I took off my helmet with my little Viking beard thing, and my regular beard was just chock full
Yep.
of snow and ice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, Megan, how do I look? She's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, did you fall down? I was like, well, not exactly, but kind of.
Yeah. I did that, except I hit my head really hard, and so I was just sitting there, just being like, "Ow!" as I was sliding. And just being like, I should-
Blasting yourself with
Yeah,
snow and ice.
I was just
chunks.
I just put my head down, just let it hit me on the top of the head.
I've accepted this.
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
This
It's
is my life now.
I'm gonna need a second to collect myself to dig my board back in so I can stop.
Yeah. So that was my day snowboarding. It was still a lot of fun. This is my third day up on the mountain so far this season, and it has been a historically good start to the season. Snow's not super great right now, but
Yeah,
the
it's-
fact we have any snow at all this time of year is really great.
Yeah.
We're 173% of snowpack for this time of the year.
Let's hope
Which
we
is
actually get
bonkers.
snow the rest of the season,
Yeah.
so we can get powder days.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I did today and this week. Did you guys do anything exciting in your 2 days off of recording?
Yes, if you by 2 days you mean last weekend that I just didn't talk about last time.
Sure, go for it. Go for it.
So fans of the podcast should know that we are fans of Southern hot fried chicken in St. Louis.
Yes. If you're ever in St. Louis, go to Southern.
Yeah. And so Paul and I have always been
And
on
what's the name of the barbecue place right across from it?
Pappy's.
No, yeah, I mean they're in the
Russell's?
same building. No, it's
Yeah,
Pappy's.
Pappy's?
Yeah.
Pappy's.
Not as good as Southern. Just keep going to Southern.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pappy's is like supposed to be some of the best barbecue
I mean,
in
it
St.
was-
Louis.
it was good.
It was good,
But
but
it wasn't as good as Southern.
man,
is the
Southern's
problem.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But so Paul and I have bullshit Paul and I have always been on the lookout for good Nashville hot fried chicken out here. And we had heard there was a post on Reddit. It was like someone asking the question, "Hey, the Denver subreddit, what's some good Nashville hot fried chicken around here?" And we had heard they kept mentioning a place called Music City Hot Chicken up in Fort Collins, which is about an hour's drive
Yeah.
north.
That's where Odell and New Belgium,
Yep.
a bunch of big breweries are up there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and don't forget Budweiser.
Was Budweiser up there?
There is a giant one up there.
I
Yeah,
did not know that.
I mean, you just drive past it on the way to Fort Collins.
I've been to Fort Collins once.
Oh, okay,
So that one time we went up there for that.
gotcha.
game
And you're
day.
probably looking on the right instead of the left, and then
Yeah.
you would have missed it.
Yeah.
So on Friday, Paul and I and Wes actually all decided to be like, "Hey, let's go up. Let's make a day or at least an afternoon of it and go up there." We drove up there and found the place, and they were actually serving brunch then too, which was weird. But we were like, no, we don't care about brunch. We're here for the chicken. And so we all got they had quarters that you could order. So it was like either a breast and a wing or a thigh and a drumstick or something like that.
Okay.
And a bunch of different levels of heat. Wes and I went with hot, and Paul went with Nashville hot. And I think Wes and I were both a little trepidatious just because it's like, if it's actually like Nashville hot, I don't know if I'm ready for that right now.
Yeah.
But so we ordered it, we got it, and honestly, it was not great.
Ooh.
It was good. The problem is have you ever had Korean fried chicken at all?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I have not.
All right. Well, okay, have you ever had fried chicken where it's like the outside is so breaded and so crunchy that it's sort of like a shell versus a crust?
Yeah.
Well, so this one was like that.
Okay.
And so it didn't feel like the chicken got a lot of
Any of the heat?
Yeah, any of the heat
It
or
was
anything.
all in the skin.
Yeah.
May as well just get Popeyes at that point.
No, yeah, right. Then there's a little bit of sweetness to it, so they might have had a little bit of brown sugar or something on it.
Yeah.
But you could taste a little bit of the grittiness of the sugar or whatever powder they put on it.
Mm.
And it was like this how it felt was like, this doesn't feel like a mistake. Like if you have gritty queso, you're like, something has gone wrong.
Yes, Chipotle.
Yeah.
Something went wrong.
Yeah. This one was like, this is just a choice they made. I don't agree with it, but this was an obviously how I'm assuming it should be like for them. And it wasn't that hot. We got the regular hot, and we're like, eh. And then Paul got Nashville hot, and he's like, it's not hot enough. And so he ended up going for white hot, which was one level higher. And he just got two tenders. And so Wes and I split one of the tenders, and Paul had another tender. That was hot enough. It was like, okay, they do have spiciness here.
Yeah.
Because both Wes and I were like, we're good with that half a tender that we had each.
Yeah.
And Paul had the one tender, and he's like, I'm good on that as well.
Okay.
And so it definitely wasn't a place that I would go to Fort Collins for.
Yeah.
But if I was in Fort Collins and someone was like, oh man, we should really get this, I wouldn't be against it. But
All right.
I'd probably just go to the tenders then that time. But so after that, we went to Black Bottle Brewing, which is right next to it. And we played Magic Maze and the game. Introduced Paul to the game.
Paul had never played the game?
No, he had only played the Mind. Yeah. But yeah, that was and then I can talk about those later in actual game stuff. But we had an enjoyable time up there.
Okay.
And then these last couple days, I've just been driving. So
Yeah. I've just been getting lifts.
yeah,
Because I have a flat tire and then my spare's flat, and I've just not had. I found out when I had to go to work, and then I went to work, and then I went to game night on Wednesday, I found out, and then I went to game night on Tuesday. How did I get to game night on Tuesday?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You
I
got
didn't think it.
No,
I don't
no,
think
I
it
drove.
wasn't.
It wasn't
yeah.
a Tuesday affair. It was a Wednesday morning
Yeah.
affair.
Yes.
Yes, that's what it was. And then I had a flat, went to work, went to game night that was a half mile from work,
Mm-hmm.
and then got a ride home, and then went to work this morning with another lift, and then went home, and then came here.
Yep.
So I've had no time to actually try and fix my flat tire.
Mm-mm.
And it doesn't matter because I leave tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. for
Yep.
a week. I'll just let it be there and be flat. What's the worst that can happen?
The tire just disintegrates. It lets all the it lets all the rust in your tire rusts away.
So the tire starts decomposing when it's flat?
Yeah.
They never taught me in that at driver's ed.
No, it's.
I mean, if it sits long enough, it'll dry rot.
That's true.
That's basically the same thing.
In a week time frame?
No.
No.
Not typically. But I don't know the condition of your tire. The picture you sent,
It's flat.
it was also pretty bald.
Oh yeah,
Pretty old
I
tire.
need a new tire. That's for sure. I'm not going to get this patched.
Yeah.
It's going to be a new tire. I've got a new tire on that side in a while.
So you've been just getting new tires all willy-nilly throughout your car?
I have not needed many new tires is the problem.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having various tires of various different treads.
Yeah, that doesn't...
Super safe.
I do know which tire it is. I keep getting the same tire, but they all have different wear at this point.
Not great for your car.
No. It's not a great car either. So.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Just at the very least, put whatever has the best tread in the back.
Yeah.
Right on. Let's move on to a little bit of what we've been playing.
Sounds good.
Try and move through this. So, by the time you're listening to this, since it's like over a week out, that this will actually air, I will have been playing a shit ton of Red Dead Redemption 2. Unfortunately,
Is it finally installed?
Unfortunately, because it took so fucking long to install it, I still haven't played any of it currently. But expect me to talk about that at length in the following weeks. Otherwise, I haven't really been doing a lot of video gaming. I've been pretty busy lately. But board gaming, last weekend, when I was up at the condo with Megan, we played another 2-player game of Terraforming Mars with Prelude cards. This is the first time using Prelude in 2 players, and I thought they were almost a little bit too much. Just because of with 2 players in Terraforming Mars, you're going to have a lot slower build anyway. You're going to take more generations as you try and max out those parameters because only 2 people are working on it instead of 4 people or 5 people or however many. And so with the boost given by the Prelude cards, by the final like 2 or 3 generations, Megan and I were each making like 60 to 70 income a turn. So we were buying all 4 cards, playing all 4 cards, still buying standard projects.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, we were, and so we felt way overpowered towards the end with all of our production and everything kind of really online as we were just trying to finish off the last couple water things, which she had a card. One of her starting cards was to go through the deck, reveal cards one at a time from the top of the deck until you find 2 plant tags and then discard the rest. And she must have found like 3/4 of the place in ocean cards in the game.
Oh,
so we
discarded them.
Yeah, right at the start. And so most of the oceans that got placed, I did 3 standard projects for placing an ocean, and then she got the card that was like spend 8 money where you can use steel for it to place an ocean.
Yeah.
And she did that 4 times. And then we had like 2 other ones that came from random other asteroids and such. But yeah, like, so that ended up being what held up the game for the last 2 generations was just us trying to find whatever ways we could to get ocean tiles out. And, one of them came from bump in temperature.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so between that little bit of a hold up there that definitely drugged the game on, and then having that boost from the Prelude cards, we felt way overpowered at the end. And like, that's fun for like a turn. Like you get 1 turn where you're like, holy shit, I can do everything. But then when you do that like 4 turns in a row, it starts to get kind of boring. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I can draft my 4 cards. I can buy all 4 and then build all 4 in the same turn and then still do a standard project.
That's the problem with engine building games, that once you get that engine finally built and everyone's like, yeah, let's get that engine rolling. Then you're like, oh, well, now we're at cruising speed. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep just doing everything, it seems.
Yeah. So I really like, I do hate when a game ends too soon and I don't get to run my engine at all, but I really only need to run it for like 1 or 2 turns. Like I only need to see it work like once, maybe twice in a game. And it's like, okay, I built a good engine. I feel good. But when you get to keep doing it turn after turn after turn, it's like, okay, I'm doing everything now. It's doing.
The things are done.
Yep.
Yeah. She ended up beating me substantially because she's really good at Terraforming Mars, and I had a really shit choice of corporations, Prelude cards, and starting 10. Like there was no synergy anywhere in those 3 sets of cards.
Really, you should have realized that the lack of synergy was a synergy in itself.
Yes.
I tried to make that work, and it did not.
The synergy was in yourself all along.
Yeah. She also got really lucky. We're right at the end of the game. She got a bunch of like make plant cards and things that just she ran away with. Like she had some card that was every time you place a plant tag or gain a plant, put a microbe on it, and then like every 3 is worth a point at the end of the game.
Yeah.
She had like, I don't know, 15 on there. She had a crazy amount. Yeah, so she beat me pretty handily. I scored like, we both scored over 100, which it's been a while since I scored over 100 in Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like 105 and she was like 117. So high scoring game.
For sure.
And then just today, day of recording, or I guess last night after we got up to the condo and, avoided traffic, all that stuff I talked about earlier, while I was doing some processing on the MHDD episode that I had finished editing, Ant and I played 3 games of Hanabi. And we had our second lowest score of the season in game 6 with 24 points. But then we immediately followed it up with a 29-point game where I had the 5 and knew the 5. We just were one turn short of getting a perfect 30 in our Hanabi game. So we still have been doing really well overall this season. Yeah, I really like 2-player Hanabi with Ant. It's a great way to unwind and just kind of hang out at the condo. And then I played one more game. And Jeff, you can jump in and talk about this one with me here because at game night on Wednesday, we busted out Binding of Isaac, the card game?
4 Souls.
4 Souls, which is kind of a Munchkin-esque type of card game with a Binding of Isaac theme if you've played the PC roguelike. Essentially, yeah, you've got a monster deck, a loot deck, and like a treasure deck.
Yep, that sounds familiar.
And on your turn, you start off by drawing a loot card, and then you can play 1 loot card. You can buy for 10 money 1 treasure card, and then you can fight 1 monster. And that's like your base actions that you can do, and you can do those in any order. But then like you can activate certain other cards. Like I think everybody's base character ability is like, you can play 1 extra loot card.
Yes,
And
everyone's
you can get other cards. Like one of the treasure cards that Wes got at one point was like, play as many loot cards as you can. And I would have loved to have that at one point in the game when I had 20 fucking loot cards.
Oh, I'm sure. You'd have had all the money.
Yeah, and gotten to do a lot of cool shit. But unlike Munchkin, because it is limited on how many cards you can play, like there's a little bit of a pile-on aspect. Like you can use that character ability to play a card on somebody else's turn.
But that's at the expense of not playing it on your turn.
Yeah.
So
And it's a one-time use. So like, at most in a like 5-player game, if Jeff's up, only 4 people can add 1 card to him. So it's not like, 4 people can add 40 cards to him and just really
infinite
bury
amount
him.
of cards.
Mm-hmm.
But that comes at the expense of not being able to play a lot of your cards very often.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I liked it for about 20 minutes.
Then I would say our first game we played on Tuesday was only 35 minutes.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
But that's because I am lucky, and then I had Isaac, whose ability was the D6 that let you.
The item he comes with is a reroll.
Is a reroll.
Oh, geez.
And I had enough shit. I was able to take advantage of things when people were not able to respond, and so I ended up winning the game after like 30 minutes with 4-1-0.
Yeah.
From what I heard, you guys did not have as good a time.
No. So about 20 minutes in, which is like 3, maybe 4 turns in, because it was game night, people were getting food. So it was taking a little longer anyway. But roughly around that time, Wes killed a monster. And then the monster that replaced it was like the troll bomb, where everybody takes 2 damage. So all of us died. And so then we all had to discard cards.
Yeah.
Like, so we were just all starting to kind of get going, and we just lost it all.
Yep.
And then the like spread of monsters that got out were just punishing. There was one that like added +1 to every monster's like value
Difficulty.
you needed to difficulty.
Yeah.
So anything that needed 3+ now needs a 4+.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that needs a 4+ needs a 5+. And then there was a monster that was, if you roll 6, it doesn't do anything. You need to roll. It was a 4+ originally, so you needed to roll 5 to do damage to it. Period.
Yeah, it was unpleasant. Then 3 hours later,
It wasn't that long.
So
Wes finally won.
You said it was a monster that came out that did that?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it
it
was
was
a boss.
pretty close to 3 hours later. We probably started about 6:30, and I had to leave
It was
to go. Well, so it was probably 2.5.
It was 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30. So about
Maybe
2 hours.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
But far longer than I wanted a game like that to last.
There was a lot of we came across all the items that were steal a soul, lose a soul.
Yeah, we shuffled the entire loot deck.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. It seems like just from it, I felt like maybe like 3-player might be better than 4-player just because you have less chance of getting fucked over.
Yeah.
But
But we just had bad monsters.
yes,
that
that's
were
also
just,
true.
like,
Yeah.
make everything harder
Uh-huh.
on an already dice-based combat
Well,
system.
and you could have pulled a monster out to cover it and then just hope you didn't beat it and then you don't have to worry about it. But
Yeah.
that part one. And like
I forgot you could do that. I could have used my ability because my character's item was cancel a combat
Mhm.
and that the person you do it for can attack again. So I could have attacked and pulled one down and then
Yeah.
just canceled my own combat.
Mm-hmm.
Cover it up.
Yeah. But I definitely noticed. I mean, we didn't get a lot of fuck you cards when we were playing. There was a couple that came out that I used what I thought was great effect or humorousness maybe. Because there was a treasure card that you could pull out, and it was you tap it, and then everybody passes their loot cards to the left.
Yeah. You just pass your hand.
You just pass your hand over to the left.
Jeez.
And when that came out, or when that was out, a monster came out, Sloth, that is after you kill it, you have to discard your entire hand. So I'm hoping you're seeing where this is going, where I bought the treasure card, or I fought Sloth, dumped my entire hand, but I got enough money to buy the treasure card, and then I immediately tapped it. And so I got Jeff's hand, Jeff got Lance's hand, and Lance got my hand of 0 cards.
Classic Zach move right there.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm sorry, Lance. I was like, Lance, I'm sorry that you're to the left of me in this game.
But yeah,
And I also got a lot of the curses too. Like
We got one.
I got one like
curse.
right away. I killed the monster and one flipped, and then I gave it to Wes because Wes at the time was like off to a good start,
Mhm.
and then everybody shit on Wes for a little bit, and then he still ended up winning.
I had 3 of them come out. Like 3 out of the 4 came out.
Yeah.
3 of the 4 that came out, 3 came out on my turn.
Yes.
And 2 of them went to Jeff and 1 went to Lance.
Yep.
And then I also got another one that targeted Jeff because he had the most amount of money too.
Yep.
And so really the only card that I got fucked with was one that you stole from me.
Yes.
That was I had to discard a soul.
Yep.
And luckily I had 2 souls because I had killed Mom, who was worth 2 souls.
Yep.
And then something else that was worth 1. And then
Good times.
yeah, good times.
Just before we started talking about this, I saw a response on Twitter pop up, and it was a reply of Jeff's about this very game, replying to Tom, friend of the show, awesome guy. We get to hang out with him at Geekway. And he says, Binding of Isaac, let's see, say something positive. It managed to take Munchkin and add random dice mechanisms to raise it to an even larger waste of time. Actually impressive in a slow, torturous way. Which, yeah, that felt about right for me.
Well, he apparently he ended up winning that one.
Yes.
And he goes, I won. Winning doesn't help my opinion. And it's like, so I just responded with, sounds like you all lost. And he goes, well, I didn't back it, so that's a win for me.
Yep. So, yeah.
So how are you feeling on the game now, Jeff?
It was only $35.
Okay. Would you bring it out again or
I don't know, maybe.
with 3 players?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that's all I played. So, Jeff, what about you? What else have you been playing?
Binding of Isaac.
Yep. I was almost surprised that you didn't let him get that one since I was pretty sure that was his only game.
I'm sorry, I thought he had one more.
Nope.
Called Blood Bowl.
Yeah, it's called Blood Bowl.
That's right. Sorry, Jeff. We'll just re-record the entire Binding of Isaac section.
No, that's all right. The less said about Binding of Isaac, the better. It comes in a neat box.
It does.
And if you like Binding of Isaac, it has a bunch of cool stuff in there.
Yeah. And
Came with a cool little roll of coins that was cooler than the actual coins.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't mention that all the cards are super thin and
like
all
the thinnest cards I feel like
yeah,
I've seen
They're
in a
still
while.
like a linen finish, but ultra thin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the coins are also, I mean, they're printed plastic coins,
Yeah.
but also very light.
They're super wafer thin.
waffle.
You can almost kind of see through them.
Yes. But the rolls they came in were super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like actual Binding of Isaac coin rolls.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, what about you? What have you been playing?
Many things. So on that trip to get hot chicken, we introduced Paul to the game. He enjoyed that. And then on Wednesday night, I actually played the game again, and we ended up playing with 5 people. because someone was like, we had a fifth person show up, and then they're like, "How much does this play to?" And it's like 4, and it's like, "Oh, we could probably get 5." Don't play the game with 5. That's too many people.
Does it go up to 5?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
All right.
We were playing with a copy of the Mind, so
I see.
we didn't have the rules of the game. But it's the 4 is there for a good reason. Also apparently Paul's copy didn't have the 18 in it. Because
What?
it's somewhere. I think it's at Ants or something like that. And so
Okay.
we used the 1 as the 18, and that got confusing many times for the new person that was playing.
Of course it did. Jesus.
Yeah. We played Magic Maze, and we actually beat it on level 7 with the security cameras and all that shit. And so I love that at the end of scenario 7 on that, it's like, congratulations, you now have played with all the rules in this game. And then there's harder things you can do, including like not talking at all. And so you have to just do gestures, or just like you can't use the thing to do something. It's just you have to look at people, and so they know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's some of the stuff gets really hard. One of the variants is like, if 3 people were playing, you would play like 2 people are playing, and then one person gets to do something, and they're the only person that can touch it. So they basically have to direct everybody.
Wait, one person gets like the do something token?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're the only person that can touch that. And the other people are actually playing the game, and they're just sort of directing the other people.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the main one that let's see, one smaller one too. Played Stockpile again last night.
Yeah, I saw you guys setting it up right as I had to leave. I was jealous.
It was a lot of fun. Matt, who's in the Blood Bowl League with you, he played it for the first time. He ended up winning, but not by nearly as much as he could have if we didn't make a concerted effort to fuck him over.
Yeah.
Because he got 4 stocks of Stanford Steel
Okay.
that split.
Mm.
And it just kept going up, and we had to keep, like, it was Stanford Steel was 4 away from splitting again. Stanford Steel had in public information that it was going to go up 4, and so and I was like, all right, he's going to get about $64,000 if once that thing goes off.
He's going to get about 50% of all of our scores.
Yes. And we were able to get a negative or a stock bust to bring it down by 2. And I, as the person who had the second most amount of Stanford Steel, I was like, we need to fuck this stock over because fuck Matt. So he only got like $16,000 instead
of $64,000.
Yeah. And then at the end he ended up winning by like 20 or 30,000. That's because Andrew and Wes didn't there was a stock that had a lot of Epic Electric, which was going up, or it was at 10, and they should have just immediately bid 25 on that one, and which I would have done had I not been the last player, and Matt was the third player, and so like they both bid it up some, and then he obviously closed it out, and that let him get a bunch of money.
I see.
Yeah, but I wanted to convince Andrew to try and grab it, but then I don't know. How much convincing can I do before people just stop listening to me altogether?
That's true.
A lot.
Very true.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. But the game I really want to talk about was I got to finally try out Pandemic Fall of Rome. That's the new game from the Survival series for Pandemic, based in Rome.
I heard it's a limited edition.
Just as limited as Iberia, I'm sure. So this takes place in ancient Rome around the 4th century, I want to say.
Okay.
If you're wrong, I'm sure Kaiser will correct you.
Sure.
Yeah. You are trying to fight against 5 different clans of barbarians. I'm not going to remember the names, so they're just colors.
Yeah.
And so the gimmick on this one is that when you go to cure the barbarians, you're actually fighting them. So you have these legions that you take with you. I forget if they call them legion or legionnaires in this. But you have to actually recruit them from forts, and then you can actually bring them around to go get rid of the disease cubes or the barbarians. Yeah,
the barbarian disease.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Barbarians are a plague.
Okay.
So it's I feel like it tracks. So what happens is you roll, like, now dice rolling is part of Pandemic of this one, but you only have like a 1 out of 6 chance of not getting rid of a cube. I would say what's most likely going to happen is that you're going to get rid of a cube, but also get rid of a legion. So usually at a 1-to-1 ratio, more or less. Sometimes you can get rid of a cube with no losses. Sometimes you get rid of 2 cubes with only 1 loss, and then there's also a special ability. It's like an eagle it's like basically the 6th of the die, and every character has their own special ability that would trigger then. Most of them are good. One's is actually bad, but that's because they're pretty overpowered, and so that's to help mitigate them a little bit. And because these are actually people, they're actually doing an invasion. You don't just when you draw the cards to invade the cities, you don't just put cubes there. You actually have to trace a path from where they started on the map, and then you have to wherever their cubes have already reached, then you can put cubes adjacent to it. So it's sort of hard to describe without seeing the board. But say you have a city 4 spaces along, that's the city that you need to infect or invade. I'm gonna keep messing those up, FYI. But there aren't any cubes on there already. So then you look to the city before it, so the 3rd city in. And if that one had cubes, then you could invade that 4th one. It's sort of them moving along a path. But if that one doesn't, then you keep going back until you reach a city that has one of those cubes already in there, and then you could invade from there, the city in front of that one. And so if you're able to like build up defenses near the beginnings of their paths, you can stymie their invasion, basically,
because they all have different like tracks that they follow.
Yeah, exactly. And they all have 2 different paths they go, and the card determines which way they go. And then there's also one card for each of the colors that goes directly to Rome. And so because it's them trying to invade into Rome, and so you always have to make sure those paths are clear if possible, because if Rome ever outbreaks, if Rome's ever sacked, you lose.
Okay. But you can take like outbreak hits for some mechanic, right?
So another new thing this one added was events. They have a normal ability, but then they have a super ability that if you take a decline, which is an outbreak, it just gets. So one of the cards was like during the invade cities, draw 2 fewer cards, or if you take a decline, you can just skip the invade cities step altogether.
Okay.
So or one is like draw a card matching your city from the discard pile, or take a decline to draw a card from any city in the discard pile, which we ended up using. I've played 2 games of this now, and the first game was very easy. Would you like to know why it was very easy?
Because you were playing wrong?
Because I was playing wrong.
Of course.
The pandemic way.
Yes. We were playing wrong in one major way, in that when you draw a revolt card, which is an epidemic, when you would add the 3 cubes to a city, because it's a revolt, you put it wherever that city is, even if it's like out in the middle of nowhere. How we were doing it before, we were still doing the invade cities track, so we kept putting it like they were always being at the northeast of the map, because that's where they all start at.
Yeah.
So because we kept that well contained, they'd never spread out from anywhere, and so it was always just like, man, this is easy.
Just hold the choke points.
Yeah. And there was something else, I think. Oh, no. We were doing something else wrong, but it didn't really matter as much. It was just that you get to roll up to 3 dice when you're fighting, depending on how many legions you have with you. We were just rolling however many you have, that's how many dice you roll. So up to a maximum of 3.
I see.
Yeah. But one nice thing I like about this game too is that you have the standard like spend an amount of cards to cure that, which in this is ally with the barbarians. And so this means now that you can actually spend a card of their color, and you can just remove those barbarians from the board and replace them with legions, because you're basically
they're turning into soldiers.
Yeah, they're turning into soldiers, but it also gets them off the board, which is super nice, especially if you have 3. They're not going to outbreak. Instead, now they're your guys.
Yeah,
which is good. There's also cities can have multiple colors because they have multiple, like the paths cross
more than one city.
Exactly,
depending on which barbarian tribe or whatever.
Yeah. And then when you're allying with the barbarians, or when you're forming an alliance with them, depending on which one it is, it requires a different amount of cards. There aren't that many blue cards in the game, but it only requires 3 blue cards to ally with them. Whereas there's a lot of the
white and black.
Yeah, white and black ones, and so those require 5.
Yeah.
But to win the game, you either have to ally with all 5 of the different barbarians, or wipe them off the board.
Annihilate them.
Annihilate them. And if you can also do a combination of them. So the first time we played, we won with 3 alliances and wiping 2 off the map. But the second game we ended up winning, but it was a lot harder. We were one decline away from losing. We were playing with the slightly harder variant of you can't the legions your legion guys can't go into Rome at all.
Which is historically accurate.
Yeah. And so if barbarians would actually ever touch Rome, they would instead just cause a decline in Rome, or a decline, so basically causing an outbreak.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't actually, outbreak in terms, but it would move the track down.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. The map or the board looks great. The components, standard really good for that.
Yeah.
I think Kaiser still prefers Rising Tide. I don't like this one. The only change you can have in this game besides increasing the difficulty in terms of how many revolt cards you have are whether to play with that one variant where the legions can't go into Rome. There aren't a bunch of, because Iberia had historical diseases,
moving patients.
Yeah. Rising Tide had the different conditions, and stuff like that.
Get people out or build certain things.
The population.
Yeah, the population, and then other certain specific area things. This one, it didn't have any of that, so it could definitely hurt the replayability there. But I did feel different than each of the previous ones too, which is good. Like Rising Tide felt different.
Yeah.
This is continuing that trend. I enjoyed it.
Right on.
Tried to get Jeff to play, but then he was like, "Oh no, we'll play Binding of Isaac instead."
Yeah.
So
I was the only one there that was not in a game at the time as well.
Yeah. And same, I got there and it's like Wes showed up right as I did. And it's like, all right, Jeff's
was
got
on
a new
Tuesday.
game. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Oh. Never mind.
I was playing Blood Bowl Tuesday.
No, after that, I got there and I
because
was
it was
like,
9:30 and they were closing at
not
10.
just that, but also like, hey, we could play the Pandemic Rise, and you're like, or we could play Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
So with Lance.
Yeah.
So that was a choice that you made. Well, that was already happened. That was a given.
That already happened.
Yeah.
I did really, going back to the new Pandemic, I did really like the layout of the board. I came in and was like looking as you guys were kind of finishing up and everything. I really, really like the layout and graphic design of that board.
Yeah,
I think it looks really awesome.
It does. It looks new, like
fresh.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Yeah. Right on. Well, that wraps up all of the normal what we've been playing, which brings us to a thrilling bit of
such anticipation.
Yeah, the Bloody Minute.
Yes. Quarterfinals, playoffs. It was Ron and myself. The Nashville Predators versus the Smashing Sarai. Chaos versus Lizardmen. He's a Season 2 Chaos team. I wasn't going into this game with very high hopes due to his multiple claw mighty blow. Claw meaning that whenever you hit someone, you always treat their armor as, if it's higher than 7, you treat it as 7. And then Mighty Blow lets you add a +1, so he can break armor on 7s, which sucks. His Minotaur had one, and then another Chaos Warrior. I got some inducements. I took the Chainsaw, Helmet Wolf, which is basically a human stat line with a chainsaw, and then a Bloodweiser Keg, which gives me +1 to my KO rolls, because I was anticipating getting some dudes KO'd in this game, which did happen. But beginning of the game, he got fame. We were 1 away from the maximum gate that has ever been rolled in a game before. We got 34K. I think 35K is the max that it's ever hit.
Gotcha.
And that's each player rolls 2d6, adds their fame, and that's what your gate is, and that's how you determine who gets +1s on certain rolls and stuff. Basically, you have more people in the crowd.
Right, yeah. So it was a packed stadium.
It was very, very packed.
They were there to watch the massacre.
Yes, they were. So he won the toss, so he received. I set up first, then he set up. I kicked the ball landed. Then we rolled the kickoff event, which was a blitz. I think my first blitz of the season and preseason. First blitz with this team, I think.
Nice.
What a blitz is, everyone that is not in base contact with an opposing player can just take a turn, just move. You can't make any blocks, but you can make a blitz. So I moved everyone, and then since I had a chainsaw that wasn't on the line of scrimmage, because that would be dumb, because if a chainsaw gets hit, they get knocked down and they eat their own chainsaw.
Which is not good.
No. I decided to blitz his Minotaur that was on the line of scrimmage to great success. Broke its armor and casualty against the Minotaur, which I then rolled a miss next game for the Minotaur. He used his Apothecary, which made me roll again, which was even worse. Serious injury of some sort. He can choose either. He chose mix next game, so that Minotaur was out for the rest of the game.
Nice.
And he has no reserves. So from then on, it was 10 on 11 at minimum. And I think I had 2 skinks in reserve, or 2 or 3 skinks in reserve because I had the chainsaw star player. So I had a nice reserve of players for him to smash on. Downside is everything went downhill from there. He immediately, when you blitz with a chainsaw, they have to stop after they hit. You can't move them after that. He then immediately blitzed my chainsaw, knocked it down, and badly hurt it, so it was out for the rest of the game on turn 1. So we were back on 10 on 10. He has a real bullshit Beastman who has a plus move and plus edge and block. So the only thing you can really knock him down on is dodge, which I never was. I did a couple times, but the armor breaks weren't there. I think I broke his armor once or twice in the first half, but then he proceeded to break all of mine all game. I ended up with like 2 skinks KO'd, a Saurus KO. My chainsaw got out immediately. He ended up scoring in the first half with a bit of delay after some of my bad double skulls. I'd try and dodge away a skink that was marked with a Chaos Warrior. He'd roll a 2, reroll 1, which is like a 9 or 11% chance or something like that. My stats for skink dodges in the game were I failed 6 of 7 3+ rerolls on dodges.
That's not good.
No, that was really, really, really bad. Only once did they knock themselves out by doing that when they fell down.
That's something?
The peak dodge was it got late in the game and I had a lot of casualties out and was not able to do anything to him. He had a Chaos Warrior on the sideline. I was like, if I make 1 dodge with a skink, I can do a 2-die uphill and surf the Chaos Warrior. I made the dodge, and then it was a push or dodge into the crowd, and out went a Chaos Warrior. Nothing happened, of course, but
of course, yeah,
he got KO'd. And then I had the ball, and I was going well, and he just kept rolling real hot, and I kept rolling real garbage. I think once we started keeping track, because I had noticed it wasn't happening, his 2-die blocks were only once or twice during the game a double push, which is on 2 of each of the die facings. So it's, roll a 5+ or a 2 and a 3 on each die. Didn't happen except twice in that game, and he was hitting me a lot. So he was just knocking me down over and over and over and over. Had a couple good attempts to try and get a 2-turn score or something like that in there, and it just didn't happen at all. Took a miss next game Saurus in the second half. Then I took a strength break Saurus in the second half, which I apothecaried into a badly hurt, which is why I didn't apothecary the miss next game, because I knew something worse was going to happen in this game. So thankfully, I just came out of this with a 0-2 loss. My playoff season is over, but thankfully with only 1 casualty of any permanence taken against me.
Are you keeping this team next season?
I will be taking this team next season because it's only a season 1 Lizardman team. Pretty much everyone has 1 skill now. My star player points in general have been pretty poor across the board. Haven't really been able to get many casualties or anything like that. So we'll see. He said at the end of the game that, I quote, "It felt like you didn't even get to play Blood Bowl because my dice were so bad."
Right. Anytime you try to do anything.
It was just like, nope, not going to happen. Oh, skull. I think I also rolled 3 or 4 double skulls during the game.
Not good.
Not good. No bueno. So Aaron goes on to meet Ant in the next round, minus a Minotaur.
Well, at least there's that.
So you're welcome, Ant.
Right on. Well, sorry, Jeff, that your season came to an end.
Yeah. Nothing Nothing you can do in that type of situation. He was even like, you didn't make any greedy plays. You didn't try and do anything stupid. And anytime you tried to do just basic stuff, the game was just like, fuck you.
Sounds about right.
It's been every experience of mine with Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on over to some news and Kickstarters then.
Yes. First up in news, there was an article published recently about how Scrabble is too random.
Kind of.
It's broken. Scrabble is broken.
Yes, according to Joshua Lewis, a PhD candidate out of UC San Diego. So this guy, Joshua, he went through and wrote up a statistical analysis program where he basically randomized a bunch of games of Scrabble and looked at expected values of things. And like he saw that, Z and Q are both worth 10 points, but because Z is so much easier to play, it's a better 10-point tile than the Q. And so he says that it's lucky if you're the one who draws the Z instead of the Q. And so he tried to go through and readdress some of the Scrabble values, but then when those were ran through, like the expected values were even further off, so he didn't fix the issue at all.
So it made it worse.
Yeah.
That's what happens when most time people want to be like, oh, I can make this better. This seems off. Let me just fix it real quick, and it's worse.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting article that goes a lot more in depth into Scrabble than I realized that people went into Scrabble.
Didn't you say that a lot of after this was posted, a lot of people there was some backlash to it from the
how dare you
the Scrabble crowd?
Oh yeah, yeah. They get into that a little bit in here that like the authorities that oversee Scrabble tournaments and stuff were like aghast. How dare you, sir? How dare you? So it's kind of interesting.
Still haven't never actually played Scrabble.
Ever?
Ever.
Okay.
Jeez. Yeah. Link to this article is in the show notes. It goes over this guy's whole reason for saying that he thinks a Z should be worth only 6 points instead of 10, and how he also may be possibly full of shit. Possibly. So yeah, go check it out. Show notes.
Next up in news is Popular Mechanics has released their top 50 new games. Top 50, the 50 best board games of 2018.
Yeah. Well, really what it is that it seems like every year they just do an updated list.
Yes.
And so this one has been updated with some of the new 2018 releases, including one of Adrian's favorite games.
Did Rising Sun make it on here?
I guarantee it did.
And I'm scrolling through and I still haven't seen it.
It's all the way at the bottom.
Because one of the first ones I saw was Root, and I was like, yeah, that belongs there.
Yeah. In no particular order, they've just sort of listed them all on here.
I think the article sort of lists, it mentions the new ones to the list.
Yes. This is relevant because this definitely hits more general audience eyeballs than most other lists will. Like,
yes.
If you see like the Dice Tower top 100, pretty much everyone in the enthusiast crew that doesn't hate the Dice Tower is probably going to be like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. But these are just random people that see Popular Mechanics.
And you can't trust random people.
No. But pretty much everything that you would imagine would be on here is here. Sagrada, Rising Sun, Dinosaur Island, Root, etc.
Yeah. It's a list of 50, but it gets updated pretty regularly. They said like on the actual list of theirs is 15 best new board games of the year, which I think is how it started several years ago. And it's kind of, as new years have come along and they've added new good games to it, it's kind of ballooned to
100%,
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now boarding is on there along with hardback. So currently some
pretty decent choices.
Yeah.
Man, I want to play more Root. Like a lot more Root.
Even with the new balance changes.
Yeah.
Fuck those cats
Mm-hmm.
and their field medicine. So yeah, if you want to look at what, games are cool, here's a big list of them.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah. In case BGG was too much in the hands of the people.
Yes.
Or just buy Root, like the rest of us.
Says 3 people that don't own Root.
Yeah. It's only $80.
I really wish I'd kickstarted it.
Because it was like $40 on the Kickstarter, right?
Well,
60 with
I
the
mean,
expansion.
coming from Vast, where I was like, I enjoyed Vast, but I didn't feel like owning it at all.
Yeah.
So
That's why you just have to kickstart everything that might be remotely good.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of income, unfortunately. Trust me, I wish I did.
No one does.
then we all could have all three of us could have backed Binding of Isaac.
Yeah. You never know if it's going to be good or bad. May as well just do it. Next up in news, the next game in the Of the West Kingdom series has been announced. Paladins of the West Kingdom. The spiritual sequel, successor to Architects.
Yes. Not a whole lot of information besides a little blurb here on BGG, where players are going to take on the role of noble men and women, gathering workers to defend against enemies, build fortifications, and spread their faith. Fortunately, you are not alone. The king has sent his finest knights to help aid in the efforts. So the paladins are coming along. In this one, you're trying to be the most player with the most victory points. You gain points by building outposts and fortifications, commissioning monks, and confronting outsiders. Each round, you get the help of a specific paladin and gather workers to carry out different tasks, and you'll slowly increase your faith, strength, and influence, which will all affect your final score, but will also determine how your different actions play out. And you do that for 7 rounds. That's the game.
Yeah. I assume this will be Kickstarter.
I'm sure it would be. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because the first one was Kickstarter. I think all of the North Sea games were all Kickstarter as well, weren't they?
I think most all of Garfield games' games have been Kickstarters.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Never did Architects. I still want to get all of the North Sea games because those were all pretty highly regarded.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start with the expansions to Raiders first.
Right.
Yeah. And last up in news is some hot, recent, off-the-burner news, like today, I think.
Yes. Published today from Board Game Gumbo, fellow member of Punchboard Media of ours. They sat down and had an interview with Stephen Bonacore of Stronghold Games, who confirmed that Terraforming Mars Legacy is going to be a thing.
It is currently in development.
In the works.
Yes.
Yeah. So
no real date given except maybe 2020 to 2021.
Yeah, so it's like somebody got the idea that, hey, we already have generations. Maybe actually have things stick around, and it might be a good setting for a legacy game.
It'll be real time, so the average play time will be
20 years
times 14.
Yep.
So 280 years.
Yeah.
So you'll start it, and then your great-great-great-grandchildren will finish it.
I want to say it starts in like the 2400s in the first place. Is that right?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So yeah, Terraforming Mars Legacy. It's a coming.
It's a coming. Definitely looking forward to a version of that.
Yeah. I'd play the crap out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'd be like, I saw somebody say that maybe it's too, like, what are the other legacy games that are heavier than, like, would Seafall be the only one that actually seemed not even heavy, but
yeah, because not really Charterstone. That was pretty medium.
Yeah.
I mean, Terraforming Mars is pretty that same medium level though, right?
I don't think heavy games lend themselves very well to.
Well, exactly, because I saw some people say it's like Terraforming Mars already takes like you want 1 or 2 games to sort of get the hang of it, and then if they keep of all the rules and the different card combinations and stuff like that, and if you're then adding and changing rules on top of that, it may be too much for some people, and then some people are like, oh, well, why don't you just start off with a more simplified version of Terraforming Mars and then sort of build up to it, and then so people were like, well, that's what they sort of did with Seafall and Charterstone to varying levels of success.
Yes.
So
quite varying indeed.
I'm very curious to see how they treat the increase in complexity in this one as regards to Legacy. So
yeah, in development now, somewhere in Sweden, Swedish developers.
I don't know where Frixeliuses are from.
Yeah.
One of those countries.
Sure.
It starts with an S. It's in Europe somewhere.
Anyway, now that Jeff's nationalism is on full display.
Yeah.
Trump's getting to us.
It's crushing its way into all of our souls.
Yeah.
That's it for news.
Indeed. That's all the news.
Then we move on to Kickstarters. And then we go on to this Kickstarter. This is the world's most versatile painting handle and grip. returns.
It's returning.
Very well funded. 66,000 of its $15,000 goal, 1,819 backers, and about 2 weeks left to go on this one, which the most popular pledge being $36.
Yeah, so we threw this one on there because, we cover a shit ton of mini games all the time. $100 miniature game of the week, regular feature.
Yep.
And sometimes people like to paint their minis, like our friend Ant, especially.
Some people somehow find the time to do that.
Yes. And so this is just an interesting little holder that like you can put your mini on while you're painting it, and allows you to hold it more comfortably and like kind of maneuver it and rotate it around and do different things with it, hold
And
it in
not
different
just-
ways.
Not just hold it by the base,
Yeah.
as is tradition.
It has like stability handles or stability grips and ergonomic grips on the bottom. The stability one, like you can press. It's like this hook sort of looking thing on the side of it.
Kind of like a grip sort of thing.
That you can actually like hold it steady with your hand while still painting it, and it can turn 360 degrees without with just your thumb.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a whole bunch of different things that kind of all click and hold in and around on the hobby holder that was previously a thing, and this is basically like expanding and adding to that.
they have an XL version of it now too, of the stability grip. So for those bigger minis.
Yeah.
I still attach the minis to the hobby holder with standard 28mm bottle caps. So you attach them on the bottom with just, Coke bottle or whatever. And it sort of just screws into the hobby holder.
Yeah. Seems way better than my little like using like a little wooden dowel with a little bit of putty on top. That's what I used when I painted mine, and my hands would cramp real bad.
Yeah, I remember that. That was not Yeah, this one looks like it would be a lot better than that.
I would just hold and paint
Yeah.
with your hands all night long.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Mr. Soldier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna paint your blue pants gray.
I like how they say that it, like with this handle and grip, it has even more customizations and hundreds of holding positions, and then there's a picture of just 12 different ways that you can hold to this thing while painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are just some ideas to get you started, Zach. You can do other things too. Yeah. That's the world's most versatile painting handle and grip returns Kickstarter.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of professional painters use these sorts of things.
They have a lot of
Very
quotes, testimonials from
Painters and such.
Yeah, amazing painters.
Yeah. So go check that out if you're into painting minis and you want something that might be a little bit easier for you.
Yep.
Next up is the Deck of Wonder. Well funded, and almost $10,000 of its $2,000 goal, 274 backers, and about a week left to go. And you can the most popular pledge with the not safe for or the After Dark pledge.
It's Deck of Wonder After Dark
is $30.
Yep.
Yeah. So the deck itself, the thing itself is the Deck of Wonder After Dark. That $30 pledge is the complete deck, which is both the Deck of Wonder and the Deck of Wonder After Dark together. The Deck of Wonder was a previous Kickstarter by these guys. I can't remember if we actually talked about it or not. I know we've talked about a couple of these little like random spell effect Kickstarters that are kind of silly.
I don't know if we've done the spell ones, but there was another deck of silly things or whatever that we talked about.
But so this one is the After Dark specifically is 100 not safe for work random spell effects. The Deck of Wonders is 100 random spell effects. So if you play, in D&D 5th edition, one of the sorcerer origins is wild magic. That you just occasionally have to roll on a table to see what kind of wild magic happens whenever you try to use magic, because you're just full of magic.
Mm-hmm. That's same sort of thing as the Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Whenever you miscast,
You just sort of cast a different spell.
Yeah.
But who knows what's going to happen.
So you can use a deck like this to kind of determine those. And some of them are pretty great. Like from the Deck of Wonder, here they've got some examples like a sperm whale falls from the sky, landing in a location of your choosing. It then disappears. A bowl of petunias falls shortly after. Or everyone, everywhere, suddenly falls prone.
Yeah.
Like,
the flavor text falls prone.
Yep.
Like that one would be great, because then you would have this whole like lore that would build up in that world if you did a good job with it as a DM. Like the day that everyone fell over.
Yeah.
Like just simultaneously.
Or just that everything you touch turns into oatmeal until your next turn.
When you get down to the After Dark, they're not all like really raunchy, but they definitely have, you know, an After Dark kind of tilt. Like my favorite one here, all swords you touch become soft and floppy for 15 minutes. Flavor text, this never happens to me, I swear.
And then for some of the ones that just make you feel bad is you summon a beautiful white horse who becomes your devoted companion. When you least expect it, it slowly sinks into quicksand and dies.
Come on, Artax, what's wrong? Or half of all life in the universe disintegrates. I don't want to go. Yeah, so just some random silly little things you can add to an RPG game to kind of mix it up.
Yep.
I do enjoy random spell effects.
Yes.
Last up on Kickstarter is Yaws, A World of Adventure. Very well funded, $12,800 of its $1,200 goal, 145 backers, and a little bit less than 2 weeks left to go. You can pledge this one for its most popular pledge, $89, or the standard edition for $36.
Yeah. So this is a cooperative adventure game for 1 to 4 players, where you take the city tiles that there's 16 of them, and you use them to build a little map, 4x4 map. And then you all take on one of the 4 different roles in the game, the miner, the runner, the knight, and the wizard. And then you go around trying to collect some resources that match your player color. And then once you've all collected all of the resources, you have enough stuff to go try and get the super secret treasure in the castle. And you're just trying to do that before this little robber token moves up the robber track and like sneaks in there and steals the treasure first. So the gameplay sounds kind of interesting, maybe. The biggest thing that they really push here is the really variable setup with the map board. They're claiming 20 trillion potential combinations, which seems a bit high, but
I mean, yeah. Like, but also,
yeah, I think it's because like it's 16 different tiles, and then each one could be like just 180'd, and then that's a new thing. So
I get. It's like, yes, you're not wrong that there's a whole bunch of different combinations, but how different
are they all going to be?
Yes.
Yeah. The deluxe edition has a bunch of really cool components. That's really, I think, one of the draws of this. It's got a like custom wooden box, a nice velvet drawstring bag, upgraded wooden components and things.
Compared fancy dice.
Yeah, compared to the standard one that's just real basic stuff.
I mean, I do like how the look of the board, at least from this one picture. I've always been a fan of like a card built board, but it all looks like it's connected.
Yeah, it does a good job of all going together.
Yeah.
We're always big fans of when things fit together well.
Yes.
And the gameplay might actually be kind of interesting. I don't know. Little cooperative game where you're running around and fighting dragons and collecting resources. So,
yeah.
No, but what if you could just play D&D instead?
Depends on how much it tries to trump up the whole like role-playing aspect. I'm fine with things that don't try to be a role-playing
I mean,
game.
you can role-play as much as you want in this game.
Something tells me the actions are much more limited.
It's true.
Well, role-playing isn't all about actions.
Fuck you, Zach. But yeah, that's Yaws, A World of Adventure.
And that's it for Kickstarters.
That is indeed all of the Kickstarter. On to listener feedback. Unfortunately, no new emails for Jeff.
The trend just keeps on going.
Keeps on trucking.
Jeff looking frailer and frailer. Do you think he got from the lack of emails? Do you think he put the man bun on to hide just the gray hair from the stress of not getting it?
No, this gray hair's just always been there.
I don't know. I'm not sure whether the man bun led to the lack of emails or the lack of emails led to the
Honestly,
man bun.
that must be it. People are just like, I don't really want to talk to Jeff anymore.
Correlation does equal causation.
Yes, it does.
We did, however, have 2 new responses over on YouTube in the new Battle Over Paulo's Corner. Paulo commented on our Arkham Horror review saying, "Thank you for the review. Not a game for me, for sure." I just want
to say it's always nice. Like, that's one nice thing about reviews is that you can tell when, like, if you're like, oh, this game might not be for me. Let me look at it. Nope, 100% not for me.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
M commented, "I really enjoyed this episode. I liked Eldritch Horror, but it was really fiddly, so I'm keen to give this a go." So yeah, glad people were liking that review.
Yeah.
I know we got a lot of comments on the Slack about Wes's dulcet tones.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We're
seems to be a popular one.
We're gonna have to start ripping into Wes, bring his self-esteem back down, get too up there.
It's okay. We're doing a good job on the Dungeon Delvers of just derailing all of his plans. Turning what's supposed to be a
Like,
one-episode
well-
session into 3 episodes, just really dragging it out.
Like any good player for a DM, it's just like, oh, I have this. I remember I saw this one thing on, I think it was like D&D green text or something like that, where it's just like this guy had this giant, like 400-page notebook full of like all of these maps and things about this island that they're coming across, and then the people are just like, let's just keep going on this ship.
Fuck this
Let's see what the
island.
next island brings, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just like, God damn it.
Yeah. I follow a lot of D&D stuff now, and I see that come up a bunch where things like that happen, but there's the idea of the they had a term for it that I thought was great, like the quantum troll or something, where it's just always in the next dungeon. So it's like, okay, you go to the next island, that's now this island.
No.
Like,
Yeah, that's 100% something, but it's, yeah.
it's still frustrating when you lay all these breadcrumbs, like trying to get them to go there,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, nah, I'm good.
Yep. Sir Barrington is still the best D&D story.
I don't know if I know the Sir Barrington story.
It's one where like a bear
Oh yeah,
like upped its charisma so much or whatever.
Yeah,
and then
no, I have
convinced a whole
seen
bunch of
that.
people, and then had a butler.
Yep, I've also heard one about a guy who played like a big orc, really strong into intimidation, but he was a rogue. Only instead of stealth checks, he rolled intimidation checks to be like, you know, Seagrog, and just would intimidate
That's
people
great.
into not
Be like,
acknowledging him.
That's great.
Oh. Anyway, that wraps up the comments over there from Paulo's Corner. We did have one follow-up on the BGG as well, guild number 2731, for those of you interested. Zach, you got that ready?
Yep, this is for the City of Gears review we did on Friday. This is from Jeff. Jeff Calgary.
Calgary Jeff.
Yep. Played this once at 4 players so far and have had mixed feelings. There's lots of mitigation for the dice rolls, and the developments also add a lot of flexibility, but the city tiles you flip didn't feel totally balanced. In our play, one of the players got quick access to 2 tiles that let him do a sweet combo, and he ended up the clear winner. At the same time, me and another player were messing each other up, clearing each other's robots and bridges, and we should have quit wasting actions and resources on each other. The winner ended up over 10 points ahead of second place and almost 20 points ahead of third and fourth. I want to play it again with the same group to see how a second game would play out. I think that's what we were sort of saying, is that like you can mess around with other people, but the game's so short that you're just like,
Yeah.
oh God, such a quick end game trigger, which is both good for playtime, but the unpredictable nature of it takes some getting used to. Makes the bag pulls tense, which is fun. Also, my friend has the Kickstarter edition, which has some nice extras and quite a few extra gears and city tiles. I wonder if the retail edition would feel a bit less replayable without them. We didn't know. I mean,
I don't think so. There's still a ton of
No,
tiles
yes.
and gears and everything.
Yeah. We only have that. We only have that retail edition, and it is. I didn't know. Like,
Of all of my complaints about City of Gears, replayability isn't one of them.
No.
At least not from a, like, you don't have enough pieces.
for a variation standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it.
Indeed. That wraps up all of the listener feedback. So if you want to get in touch with us and leave feedback of your own, there are plenty of ways to get a hold of us. You can always send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us and tweet us over on Twitter at MHGameGuys is where I tweet.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We also have our Facebook, facebook.com/MileHighGameGuys, as well as our website, milehighgameguys.com, where there are show notes with links to all of the news items and Kickstarters and things like that we talk about for you to go check them out for your own self. And then if you want to support the show, you can feel free to do so through our Patreon, patreon.com/MileHighGameGuys. Remember, as little as $1 gets you a thorough, customized, and improvised ripping from none other than Man Bun Jeff. So.
Yes, that is my name now.
But yeah, thanks everybody for listening to the episode. As always, our Wednesday episodes are sponsored by our awesome sponsors, Gray Fox Games. Their new game, War of the Worlds, the new wave, will be out on Kickstarter next month, and we will continue to have more and more information as it becomes available. But for now, just keep in mind.
I'm excited.
Clank plus dudes on a map. A little 2-player game. One of you takes on the role of the aliens. The other takes on the role of the humans. I do have game objectives now as well. The main objective of the aliens is to completely annihilate the entire population of Great Britain by removing all of the civilian tokens from the playing board. And the humans need to deal enough damage to the alien army. 30 damage total to the alien forces. This also takes place thematically a few years after the initial invasion.
Yes.
So they got wiped out by the bug, went back, regrouped, and now they're coming down for
Round 2.
round 2. Ding, ding.
Yep. And I know them wanting to kill all of Great Britain is sort of, an analog for taking over the world. But I'd find it funny if it's like literally they're like, no, we just want this one island. We're cool with everybody else, but screw Great Britain. Yeah.
In our planet, their flag is a grave insult.
I'm just excited about 2-player asymmetrical deck building.
Oh yeah, I definitely would like to try that out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's War of the Worlds: The New Wave coming soon from Gray Fox Games. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement?
Why, yes, I do. Gray Fox Games, quality games cleverly crafted. Also, I'm just a man who's good at what he does. Killing. There's no winning or losing for a mercenary.
Simple.
To the point.
Yep.
Indeed, just like Jeff. Simple to the point. That wraps up the episode. Be sure to tune in next week where we will be back in 2019.
I'll have bonus content. I will be in Chicago playing Kingdom Death Monster with literally every expansion.
Look up flights to
Zach's now going to fly to Chicago for Christmas.
Whenever we go to Gen Con or Geekway, we can just fly into Chicago, hang out with CJ, play with all the Kingdom Death Monster, kill him, take it, and then go on our business. Yeah. No one will miss him.
Well, it seems like we'd only need to It seems like we'd only need to do that the first time. We don't have to keep coming back.
That's true. That's true. They won't even know it's gone.
Yeah.
No one knows he has it. They think someone just killed him.
Jesus.
They won't know why.
So should I cut this out of the episode?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we'll be back in 2019. Jeff will have a bunch of Kingdom Death Monster stuff, clearly. Maybe a murder. We don't know. I'll have Red Dead Redemption 2. Zach, what are you gonna bring to the table in a week?
What's 2019 Zach gonna bring?
I don't know, depression.
Holiday depression.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
I'm glad that will at least stay consistent. We'll all have some depression.
Yeah,
we'll all have holiday depression.
Right, yeah.
And a hangover.
Yes. And then next Friday will be our year look back, where we look back at 2018, where Zach will be bringing something awesome to the table with his custom year-end awards. I, for one, am quite excited to hear them.
Yeah.
They're always one of the highlights of that episode for me. So
Faux show.
For sure.
We're out. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Jolly Jeff.
Bye.
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 This is a pause. It looks like Bezier Games just posted something that looks Suburbia-esque. What do they say? Something very exciting is coming this way. We'll be announcing it on January 7th. So it may be like a second edition or something like that, or
big expansion. The art style looks different enough.
No, that's what I mean. Where it looks like it just looks new, or like a New York one, or Suburbia Legacy.
Oh my God! Everything's legacy now. Out of control.
Punchboard Media,
where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.